Hi, welcome back to Alex Talking. I love going to the movies, and last night I saw The Conjuring Last Rites at the local AMC Savannah 11 with my fiance MC, who was screaming and burying her head in my chest and jumping at every jump scare the entire time. I have to say, at work this week, which my coworkers saw weapons, and only two of three of them did. But otherwise, haven't really seen any movies since Until Dawn. To put it into perspective, and they all were like, "We're gonna go see The Conjuring tonight. We're gonna go see The Conjuring this weekend. I cannot wait to see The Conjuring." And being at this movie theater, saw it on the Big D, the giant like IMAX type theater here. It was like almost sold out. Everybody was very verbally reacting, going, "Ooh, don't go in there," and just really, really engaged with the movie. And I think, especially having my fiance there by my side, who was terrified of this movie, and at the end said that her body was so tense and so tired of being tense the entire time, really amplified that experience. Because I am a 21-year-old that watches so many horror movies that can count on two hands how many times I've been actually scared watching a movie. No, The Conjuring 4 did not scare me, but I had a really good time with it because of the way it scared other people. But beyond that, I think that you can do much worse than this. I think The Conjuring, the mainline Conjuring series, has become like the Scream franchise of possession movies because people really were hard on The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. And I thought that that was better than the second one. I still think it's better than the second one. And I saw the second one in theaters on Tuesday last week. The second one's fine, but it is something that I think if you take James Wan's name off of it, people would really come down their esteem of it. I love James Wan too. I just watched Saw and liked it for the first time. It was my fourth watch, but I liked it for the first time. The James Wan cameo in this was awesome. But I don't live in a world where I think the second one is as good as the third. I do think the third is better than the second one. I think this one was just about as good as the second one because they're the two by far that have such a clear, distinct scale that they're balancing between the haunting subplot and the Warren subplot until finally they come together. And they have to come together in all of them. Even the first one, eventually they have to get to the house and get to the family. But in the second and fourth, it feels like it really takes a while for that to happen. And I think it's because you know just geographically how far away they are from them too. Because in the second one they have to go to London, in this one they have to go to Pittsburgh, shout out, Pennsylvania from Connecticut, and I think that like sort of distance just kind of like lets you know it's gonna be a while until some shit happens, and we're just gonna go through the motions in a lot of ways. And I think that in a lot of ways, this movie is going through the motions. It is very comfortable in being just another Conjuring movie. As a matter of fact, I would say that this movie is aiming for being a big finale, or not big finale, being a solid finale to the Conjuring mainline story, setting up that they're going to probably do more movies. Let's not pretend they didn't have an entire subplot of young couple to very clearly establish. I think they want to take over this franchise. I don't know what that does with the based on real events moniker. If you have Ed and Lorraine's daughter and son-in-law take over, I have no idea the real life implications of any of that, what that would mean. If that's where they're going, it felt very much so like that's what they wanted to do. They even had the Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, Shia LaBeouf picks up the hat moment, but this time they didn't nix it. They literally had Ed Warren, pass him on. Not that he dies, but yeah, I'm not going to get into like spoilers too early on in this. I will towards the end because there is some stuff, and I will say this: they pulled some stuff out that made me, as a longtime fan of this franchise, one thing in particular, I gasped at and sat up in my seat because there's one thing I've wanted from this franchise since the very first movie. And to be fair, they've made 9 of them without doing it. And to do it in this final one, it was very satisfying to me. And I think there are bursts of that. There are bursts of brilliance here, and sequences and scenes that play super effectively well, and scares that play effectively well. The first half of this thing goes for scares at a rate the way that something like Splitsville goes for jokes. It's like, we're a movie. We're going to have a plot, but we're going to hit you with the stuff that you're here for real quick and when you want it. And I really appreciated that. Vera Farmiga and Patrick Wilson are great. Okay, is that a surprise to anybody? They're great in pretty much anything they're in, but easily in these Conjuring movies, they play off each other so nicely. It's a little sad that these last two movies, Ed has to have a heart problem, and his character feels so sidelined. I could easily see if you say that these two are the worst ones exclusively because of that element, because the first two you're able to enjoy fully as he is your awesome main character. That's where we fell in love with him. And then they wanted this element of stress, and he could die with the third and fourth one. So they gave him this heart issue. So he had some sort of added, maybe he'll die in this one. When in reality, we know he doesn't. So, because it's based on a true story, it's a weird juxtaposition that it's like, okay, add that. Obviously, that was a real part of his life and a real issue he faced in his life. Just from a movie perspective, it makes the character a little less enjoyable to watch, to be 100% honest. That was my biggest complaint. If I had one to nail the biggest issue with this movie, it is just how much he is sidelined again. His presence is there, he's delivering all his lines well. It's just the actual writing of the character is disappointingly, hey, he's gonna have a heart attack if he does too much, so don't make him do too much, so he doesn't do too much. The third act really, really goes off its rocker. We're 7 minutes in. I think I'm gonna hit spoilers now, so I'm just gonna say this was perfectly solid. I would give it a 3.1, 3.2 out of 5. Had a very solid time at the movies with this. I would see it again, and I would never really have an issue watching this. I don't think it really did not bother me the way I've seen it bother some people, and I can understand saying it's mediocre, but I thought it was a good time. I thought it was just a solid, nice time at the movies. Not something that I would ever really seek out, but like, it's so much better than so many of the movies that have come out this year. So it's right there in the middle of the road, in my opinion. Now let's get into spoilers. 1, 2, 3. Annabelle walks. Annabelle gets up and walks and comes at her real big. It's like a dream sequence. It's something that they're making you see. I thought that was awesome. I've only wanted Annabelle to walk around and kill people since the first movie, and they finally do it here just a little bit, just a sneak. I thought they were going to make Annabelle the big bad, to be 100% honest. I thought that's where this was going. I thought the big reveal was that Annabelle's the reason that they had to retire, because she's just that powerful and so strong, and that's why she got 3 Conjuring movies before they did. And it was only a little sequence, and that was disappointing, because I thought the villains were kind of weak in this, to the point that I don't know what their names are, or it was like a cheating spouse motivation. The guy went crazy and killed his mom. That's fine. Not that these movies always have the most memorable villains, but yeah, I was just saying that this is better than The Conjuring 2, just from a story perspective, because I do not care about that British family at all. It's just like living in hell with this family, and I guess I can relate more to a Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania family, because that's where I'm from. So from the family perspective, I prefer this one. But from a scares perspective, I guess honestly, yeah, The Conjuring 2 has the Valak nun and the Crooked Man, and this one has a really creepy looking dude with an axe. I really like the design, but the character motivation and anything going on with them was so non-existent that I walked out literally like, oh, I have no idea what that motivation was. It was just the bad guy in the house. And once again, the movie was very comfortable with it just being the bad guy in the house. And I've been learning to meet movies on their level. And I saw the movie Splitsville the other night, and it was very funny, very silly, and I loved it. It's one of the best movies I've seen all year. I would really highly recommend that. And my fiance walked out like, well, what was even the point of that? And I was like, who gives a shit? Were you laughing the whole time? Yeah, I was. She was she was laughing out loud the entire time. And I said, so you, like, you know what I mean? Like, you can have some issues with it. That's fine. Just because a movie makes you laugh doesn't mean that you can't have issues with it. But she really was like, I'm like, I was enjoying it the whole way through. And now it ended. I'm like, why did we watch that? And I was like, because it was good. Like, you know, just because it didn't like give you a big spoon-fed ending doesn't mean that it's not good. And The Conjuring 4, I meant it on its level as just kind of a thrill ride, haunted house, one last ride, close it out with the Warrens. And I went, hey, I had a great time. Didn't go out with the biggest bang, but it was still a little firecracker that went off for a solid hour, 2 hours, 15 minutes. And man, I'd have no problem watching The Conjuring Last Rites again. So let me know what you thought in the comments. If you think Annabelle is out there in the real world right now walking around killing people, because I was just in Pennsylvania dog sitting, and I was in Shippensburg. She was in Gettysburg, Annabelle. And the person who was in charge of, like, taking Annabelle on tour so people could come see her was, like, killed in their hotel room, and Annabelle's missing. So she could be out there walking around killing people, just like this movie prophesized. So stay safe out there, and thank you for watching. God bless, and have a great day.